Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Strange Stories. I'm John Brown. Our lead story for today. Kelly Smith's home burnt down after being found guilty of kidnapping and trafficking Joshlin. This is Middelpos, an informal settlement in Saldanha Bay, South Africa, and this is what's left of the home of Kelly Smith.
No, makata. Usabanjwanye lo.
But this isn't just another tragic fire, this is a blaze ignited by anger, grief, and a desperate search for justice in a case that has gripped the nation. Just hours after Kelly Smith, along with her boyfriend Jacquen Boeta Appollis and Steveno van Rhyn, were found guilty of kidnapping and trafficking her 6-year-old daughter, Joshlin Smith, her shack was set alight. The fire, a symbolic act of rage and retribution, has left the community reeling, raising questions about vigilante justice and the deep-seated emotions surrounding this harrowing case. Saldanha Bay Fire Services responded to the scene, extinguishing the flames that had already consumed the structure. Mayor Andre Truter confirmed that the shack was destroyed, but thankfully, no injuries were reported. However, the damage went far beyond the physical. The fire has become a symbol of the community's pain and their desire for justice in the face of a crime that has shaken them to their core. Police spokesperson Lt-Col Malcolm Pojie confirmed that Saldanha Police Station had registered a case of arson for further investigation. An adult female has been taken in for questioning, suggesting that authorities are taking the incident seriously and are actively pursuing those responsible for the fire. The burning of Smith's home immediately sparked a debate about the appropriateness of vigilante justice. On one hand, there's a sense of understanding, a recognition of the raw emotions and frustration felt by a community that has witnessed the unthinkable. Joshlin's disappearance and the subsequent trial have exposed the dark underbelly of their community, leaving them feeling vulnerable and betrayed. On the other hand, there's a concern that such actions can lead to further violence and instability, undermining the rule of law and perpetuating a cycle of retribution. While the desire for justice is understandable, it's crucial that it's pursued through legal channels, ensuring that due process is followed and that the rights of all individuals are protected. But to truly understand the significance of this act of arson, we need to delve into the details of the case that preceded it, the disappearance of Joshlin Smith and the subsequent trial of her mother and her accomplices. Joshlin Smith vanished without a trace from her home in Middelpos on February 19, 2024. Her disappearance sparked a massive search operation, with police, community members, and volunteers scouring the area in a desperate attempt to find her. However, as the days turned into weeks, the hope of finding Joshlin alive began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of unease and suspicion. The investigation soon turned its focus on those closest to Joshlin: her mother, Kelly Smith, her mother's boyfriend, Jacquen Appollis, and a friend of Appollis, Steveno van Rhyn. As the evidence mounted, a disturbing picture began to emerge, a picture of a mother willing to sacrifice her own child for money. The trial of Kelly Smith, Jacquen Appollis, and Steveno van Rhyn captivated South Africa, with shocking allegations and disturbing revelations coming to light. One of the most explosive testimonies came from Lombard, a friend and neighbor of Smith who turned state witness. Lombard claimed that Smith had confessed to her that she had done something silly and sold Joshlin to a traditional healer known in South Africa as a sangoma. The allegation that Joshlin was sold to a sangoma shocked the whole nation. Sangomas are legally recognized in South Africa under the Traditional Health Practitioners Act of 2007 and play an important role in many communities, providing spiritual guidance and traditional healing. However, there are also charlatans who exploit people's beliefs for their own gain, engaging in unscrupulous practices and selling good luck charms that sometimes involve human body parts. Lombard's testimony painted a grim picture, alleging that the person who allegedly took Joshlin wanted her for her eyes and skin. This detail sparked outrage and fueled fears that Joshlin had been trafficked for ritualistic purposes, a deeply disturbing and culturally sensitive issue in South Africa. Adding to the shocking revelations, a local pastor testified that in 2023, he had heard Smith talk of selling her children for 20,000 rand each, though she had said she was willing to accept a lower figure of 5,000 rand. This testimony suggested that Smith had been contemplating selling her children for some time, raising questions about her motives and her capacity as a parent. Joshlin's teacher further alleged in court that Smith had told her during the search that her daughter was already on a ship, inside a container, and they were on the way to West Africa. This statement, if true, indicated that Smith was aware of Joshlin's fate and was actively misleading investigators. Despite the efforts of Smith's lawyer to cast doubt on these allegations, citing inconsistencies in Lombard's remarks and suggesting she was an opportunist, the court ultimately found the evidence against Smith, Appollis, and Van Rhyn to be compelling. On Friday, May 2, 2025, Judge Nathan Erasmus delivered the highly anticipated judgment at the White City Multipurpose Center in Diazville, finding Kelly Smith, Jacquen Appollis, and Steveno Van Rhyn guilty of kidnapping and trafficking 6-year-old Joshlin Smith. The court accepted key evidence from state witness Laurentia Lombard, who testified against the accused. The trio was remanded in custody ahead of sentencing proceedings. The verdict brought a sense of relief to the West Coast community, which had been shaken by Joshlin's disappearance and the subsequent trial. Outside the venue, supporters of the family expressed their emotions, with some in tears and others applauding the ruling. It was in this context, amidst the relief and the lingering pain, that Smith's shack was set alight. The fire, a symbol of the community's collective trauma, serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of children, the desperation that can drive people to commit unspeakable acts, and the enduring search for justice in a world often marred by darkness. The case of Joshlin Smith has also prompted conversations about the vulnerability of children, particularly in South Africa's poor communities. The allegation that Smith had discussed selling her daughter and had issues with drugs has highlighted the challenges faced by families struggling with poverty, addiction, and lack of access to social services. In Joshlin's community of Middelpos, parents have been telling local media that more than a year after the young girl's disappearance, they are still concerned for their own children's safety. This fear underscores the need for greater investment in child protection services, community support programs, and efforts to address the root causes of poverty and inequality. Thank you for watching this news video. We'd love to hear what you think about this story, so please leave your comments below. We read them all and appreciate your insights. Join us again in our next strange story. Until then, goodbye.